What's up, Barbarians? We have the patch notes for the PTR of Season 7. And I gotta say, because I love bleed so much, I'm disappointed. There's no bleed changes. But we are getting a lot of good increases, and we're getting a lot of good buffs. And Earthquakes and Dust Devils are going to be the way to go. But let's go over the notes. So first, as they showed off, we are getting two new aspects. And the aspect that I think will work well will be this one right here. This one will work good for Barbarians. And as we talked about before, we are getting a new unique chest piece for Hammer of the Ancients. So we have no changes with the Mantle of the Mountain. And we are getting some more Earthquake buffs. We have a new aspect where our Earthquakes deal 35 to 50% increased damage and it's converted to fire. So the Ugly Bastard helmet is definitely going to be good for here. We are getting a new tempering for ranks to Warpath, Belligerence, and Heavy Hitter. So they want us to play more overpowers, more basic skills, and more ultimate skills. And now for the actual changes. So the Hammer of the Ancients is getting an increase of 10%. I know you can use Hammer of the Ancients even if there are no enemies around, but the big change here that's really awesome is Furious Hammer of the Ancients scales. Hammer of the Ancients gains 3% critical strike damage and critical strike chance for every 10 fury you had when cast. Its critical strikes knock down enemies for 2 seconds. That's pretty cool. So it scales again. I think HotA is going to be back on top. I think that'll be the best. We might have another season of the HotA. Mighty Throw damage is increased to 105% and the pulse damage increased to 50%. That's amazing. Kick skill ranks now increase Kick's damage. It should have always increased the damage and decreased the cooldown like most other skills, so this is a good change. Kick is still clunky though. When you use it, it doesn't feel good. Wrath of the Berserker got a change, and I don't like this change. Rank 5, Wrath of the Berserker pulls in enemies instead of knocking back and deals 200% damage to them. I'd rather it still knock them back and deal 200% damage. I think that's better. Call of the Ancients got a good buff, with Prime Call of the Ancients dealing 5% more damage. That's amazing. And now at rank 5, we gain movement speed and damage reduction to distant enemies. It'd be nice if they could cut that number, make it like 10% and just do damage reduction. I think that would be better. Iron Maelstrom also got a buff, but will it be enough to use this skill? I'm actually trying an Iron Maelstrom build out right now. If I can get it to do decent damage, I will post it. The two-handed bludgeoning deals 15% more damage, and the dual wield deals 10% more damage. And at rank 5, your damage is increased by 80% of your damage to injured and healthy bonuses. That part is interesting because the Might Glyph only deals damage to healthy enemies as a bonus. I wonder if you could scale that to make this work better and really scale its damage up higher. Hard to say. This is quite an interesting change. The following skill tree upgrades, which deal direct damage, will now scale with their damage and the skill ranks. The one I'm really looking at is Enhanced Rupture. Rupture has gotten a buff, and it is good, and now it's going to be even better. I like that, and I really want to see how high that could go. We have a couple changes to our passives. So Heavy Hitter, instead of now just dealing more ultimate skill damage, so now our ultimate skill Earthquakes and Dust Devils gain more damage. Again, buffing Earthquakes and buffing Dust Devils. That's the only way going to play Season 7. I'm really disappointed. I feel like Bleed is pretty much dead, unless you want to play Bleed with Earthquakes and Dust Devils, which I may or may not do. Defensive Stance also got a buff. Now while you're fortified, you gain 2% damage reduction and you heal for 0.5% max life every second. Slaying Strike got an awesome buff. Now we deal 5% increased damage to injured and healthy enemies. I really like this. Unbridled Rage got a buff. Our core skills deal 45% increased damage and cost 100% more fury. The damage is doubled against injured enemies. So now we deal 90% damage. I really wish they could just bump this up to your core skills deal 65% increased damage but cost 100% fury and not have the damages doubled against injured. I would prefer that because it would, in my opinion, feel stronger. Walking Arsenal got a buff. Instead of getting 8%, they almost doubled it to 15%. And now the 20% attack speed is also doubled from 10. And now we get crowd control duration as well. This is a good change. Okay, changing some more aspects, dealing with earthquakes. Executioners, I don't know how many people use that one this season. Now your overpowers will spawn earthquakes every 4 seconds that deal physical damage over 4 seconds. Your earthquake damage is increased by 25% for every 100 strength you have. The aspect of earthquakes. This was already a great aspect, and now they made it even better. You still create earthquakes over 4 seconds. While you're standing in them, you still deal more damage. And now for 4 seconds afterwards, you still deal more damage. Meaning you should have this buff up now up all the time. Another earthquake buff. Bolcathos. Leap creates an earthquake that deals physical damage over 4 seconds. While standing in earthquakes for 4 seconds and afterward, you gain 25% increased damage reduction, and your earthquakes deal 25% increased damage. Even if you don't use Leap, you can still use this. They're really going hard on earthquakes. If you don't play earthquakes, don't play Barb. Ancestral Echoes, I don't think anyone ever used this, but they are getting a skill damage bonus. Same with Ancestral Charge. Interesting change to Encroaching Wrath. Now, after spending 100 Fury, your next Weapon Master or Brawling skill within 8 seconds instead of 5, which is awesome, deals 50 to 80% increased damage from 40 to 70. And now you can use it with Brawling skills. So you could also use that with Charge. And Charge was really good in Season 3. Mighty Throw damage also got a buff from 15 to 35 to 25 to 45. Twin Strikes got a mild buff. Now you will be stunning enemies for 1 second. I don't think that's a big enough change to really make a drastic impact. Stunning enemies for 1 second after swinging 4 times. I mean, if you made it for 2 seconds, you could kind of perma-stun. I think that would be kind of cool, but we'll have to see how Twin Strike plays. Unbroken Chain. This one definitely needed some reworks, and now because it gives ranks to Slaying Strike instead of Pit Fighter, I think that's an excellent change. And with the changes to Slaying Strike, this is good. The damage reduction is also needed. Love it. An awesome change to the Ugly Bastard Helm. Now we deal 80 to 100% increased damage. This is amazing. The Air of Perdition for core skills is really good, but Ugly Bastard may be better now. We have a couple changes to the Paragon board. First, the Bonebreaker Legendary Node. Every 12 seconds we still overpower, and now whenever you overpower, your ultimate skill deals 10% increased damage for 10 seconds up to 80%. And the Weapon Mastery board. Increase to the Legendary Node as well. Swapping weapons gain 8% of your max fury, and you deal 30% increased damage to injured and healthy enemies. That's pretty awesome. That is all of the Barbarian changes for the PTR of Season 7. Overall, I think it looks good. I think it looks strong. I think Barbarian is going to be strong. It will be Season of the HotA. It'll be Season of the Earthquake and Dust Devils. And I think your top builds are still going to be Mighty Throw, Hammer of the Ancients, and Whirlwind. Double Swing, I think, could be good as well. Upheaval, we'll have to test that one out to see. I think Rend is going to be garbage this season because we don't really have a lot of ways to scale with Dust Devils or with Earthquakes. Other than that, I think this will be a fun season to play. I'm still very curious on how the Season 7 theme is going to tie into everything. We know that we're getting new powers through these new gems and also through the witch powers. I'm really hoping that Bleed can still be viable, but as of right now, it looks like it's still going to be the worst out of all the Barbarian skills. So next week is an exciting week. We got the PTR on Tuesday, and we have Path of Exile on Friday. I'm curious how many of you guys are going to be playing Path of Exile as well. Leave a comment below if you're going to play just Diablo, just Path of Exile, or both. I am excited for both, and I'm definitely looking forward to playing both. Alright guys, Barbarian definitely looks like it's getting stronger. I'd really like some more bleed buffs. But other than that, I think Barbarian should be in a good spot for Season 7. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.